What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, and we are back for the Blazing Toku Moviethon, Godzillathon edition. With me, as always, is my lovely co-host and wife.
Hi, I'm Stormy.
And this week we are talking about the 1965 classic, Invasion of the Astro Monster. I imagine this also has many other names, but I'm not going to lie, we're kind of cutting this short to when we have to release it, so not a ton of research was put into this.
Oops.
But oh well. We did try to watch it in Japanese, but my disc did have an error, so we watched the classic American dub, which wasn't that bad in some spots, oddly enough.
There was actually like an American actor in this, and they actually did have some of like his original lines in this. I think because it just looked so synced up with what he was actually saying.
It actually looked good.
And yeah, the acting was good there. Got to comment on that just because it was the only thing I think I got to see. The rest of the cast did their best.
Yeah, well, it felt like there were like 4 voice actors.
Yeah, but that's also true. It felt like I heard like the same guy's voice a few times. But whoa, I almost fell for a sec.
Okay.
But
this is the sequel film, actually, to the last film that would have been in the series, which was Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster, which they just add in that he's an alien. I don't remember if that was a thing in the original movie.
I don't know. He was like some sort of like guardian 9-headed dragon that was like trapped under ice.
You're thinking of the last movie we watched with him.
I thought that's what you were just talking about.
No, I was talking about the movie before Invasion of the Astro Monster, Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster.
Oh.
Which is pretty much this is round 2. This movie is round 2, but this time with an alien subplot. Like, that's not even kidding. Like, the Exilians, or they never really name them in
the aliens.
Yeah.
By the way, like
these are the Planet X.
Yeah, these are the guys that you see referenced a lot in like a lot of like sci-fi stuff.
Also, you see them reused a lot even in movies such as Godzilla Final Wars.
Oh yeah, I guess they were.
Yeah, those are them. They looked way more Matrix, might I say?
Oh my gosh, that was them. I definitely need to rewatch that movie. I think I've only really seen it once.
Oh man, maybe some other time.
That's a good one.
Sadly, it did not make the list this year. Actually, wait, I think we did it before. Go check out that video if we've done it before.
Oh, maybe. It sounds familiar. I think we did. Maybe last year.
It might have been last.
Maybe.
It might have been the year before. Might have been one of the years you weren't on.
Who knows?
Overall, we just open up with this movie. They're just going to Planet X. Why are we going to Planet X? I don't know. Like, they're just like, and there it is. It's over there, across the horizon.
Let's go there.
Yeah, and the Exilians are so obvious on what they want, it's almost hilarious how much they kept saying, man, they have much gold, but they don't have any water. And everyone kept saying, like, yes, we need water.
It's so funny. If you take out all of, like, the very obvious, like, these are the villains and these are their motivations, it really just kind of ends up sounding like this alien race, like, just was really chill.
Well,
they're just like, oh,
they flip the switch.
Yeah, until they like flip the switch. Like, genuinely, it's like, hey, if you take out the context of like, oh, we know for sure that those guys are the villains. Like, they just kind of like, hey,
they were like,
we made a deal, like, held up their end of the bargain. You know, with
they
like
were just being like, hey,
certain things.
Guys, Godzilla, like Ghidorah is just showing up and destroying our stuff, but we call him Monster Zero. Please help us. Let us take your monsters, please.
Let's take your monsters, please.
And he's just like, and they're just like, what the hell? And I don't know what the other astronaut's name is, but we know like the white astronaut's name, which if I'm saying he's white, I think he was actually American, so whatever. Glenn.
Oh yeah, Glenn, yeah.
His name was Glenn. Like, they said his name like a billion times. But like, the main astronaut dude had like a sister who he didn't like who she was dating, and that was his plot point, weirdly enough.
And he makes a thing and it makes a noise.
Oh, you talk about Tetsui Terry?
Yeah.
I doubt that's his Japanese name. If that's his Japanese name, tell me down in the comments.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. I was really happy that the dub that we watched, because we didn't get to watch the Japanese with the subtitles. There wasn't just like forced inserted person into the plot, and they just dubbed
about Raymond Bird?
Yes, I'm talking about Raymond Bird.
Steve
Martin. Yes, there is no Steve Martin. Thank goodness. They just dubbed it, which is what I wanted.
And this movie's just
Thank goodness.
this movie is just so weird. It's about like espionage and like you said, Terry just building a thing. Which, by the way, Tetsuya Terry sounds like it would be like a joint, like a rib joint.
I said it sounds like if there was like a Korean barbecue and also like a Texan like barbecue like mixed together or something like that. Like
Come on down to Tetsuya Terry's.
it sounds
barbecue.
delicious. I want it already. Like
Oh my god. Also, he looked
delicious.
like Clark Kent.
He did look like Clark Kent.
He did look like Clark Kent. And
Why do I struggle with that?
And, like, he just kind of kept being like a Wang for most of the movie. Like, and it's almost like, why did they give him the win when he really doesn't feel like he deserves it? But he got the respect.
Yeah, and he made a thing.
Honestly,
the
Glenn
alien
was like
spot.
the most interesting character because like he falls in love with like one of the Exilians who is watching him.
Yeah, she was supposed to be spying on him. By the way, all of the women look exactly the same.
Yeah, which by the way, if you don't know what the Exilians look like, they're like wearing like tube socks, like with little pointy little needles on their head,
big
and like
collars,
some sweet shades. Like, you know those shades.
Like they got gray suits.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like...
If you, again, I think, like, what, there was a reference to them in, like, I think Rick and Morty or something, wasn't there?
I think they're referenced everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like you see these guys
are pretty
everywhere.
well used throughout media. I feel like, these...
It's a classic design,
this movie
I feel.
came out in 1965. It just became one of those classic alien designs, kind of like the Mars Attacks aliens.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, they give a little bit of vibes of the Mars Attacks aliens.
A little bit, actually. Yeah, now that you mention that.
Especially with how their suits are. It's just like, instead of having tanks, they have little, like, tube socks.
Yeah, instead of, like, big, like, glass bulbs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Buzz Lightyear with versus without his dome.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, that's kind of the movie is, like, the, like, Exilians just being like, yes, trust us. And then immediately being like, yes, here's your cure for cancer on our mixtape.
No, not a cure for cancer, cure for everything.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Here's your cure
All
for
diseases.
everything on my mixtape. Here, make sure you listen to it. You're ours now. You will listen to us. Ghidorah is secretly our weapon.
And now we stole your monsters, and now they're our weapons. I did make the joke of, like, could you imagine if they actually were really cool people, and they, like, but they made, like, a joke fake one, and then they actually gave them the joke fake one, like, in a sitcom or something like that.
Yeah, and, like, it's just, like, such
what
a
could
weird
possibly
plot.
go wrong?
But it's, like, such a weird plot that's just being, like, the most sci-fi B-movie. Like, this is what these movies were back then.
I kept forgetting Godzilla was in this movie.
Well, yeah, because he's barely in it. But, like, when he's in it, he's, like, doing his little dance. Like, he did
yeah,
his
this was such fun, like, silly Godzilla. Like,
exactly.
this is what I wanted.
This is the second movie where he's the hero.
Yeah, and I was trying so hard to pay so close attention to this, too. And then I just had a moment of just like, oh, it doesn't really matter. Like, I could just, like, sit back and watch this. This is nice. Like,
and
this
then,
is
like,
fun.
Rodan was there.
They plucked him straight out of a mountain.
And I want to know how much of this, was any of this footage, I was tripping on my words, like, was reused from the last movie.
I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't be.
I know, obviously, the ones where, like, they're in space and everything, that's probably new footage. But I doubt that it had that much new footage. Because apparently, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, was released, like, 8 months after Godzilla vs. Mothra. And so it's like, I wonder how quickly this movie was trying to get thrown out. So, like, I'm very curious. Because it just seems like it was in the kaiju boom, and they were like, we are riding this until it is broke.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I kept telling you. Like, this just felt, like, fit the vibe of just, like, a really old B-movie that was made super cheap by probably inexperienced people, and then they somehow got their hands on the Godzilla license. That was kind of what it felt like. Like, I was watching something that should have been on a Mystery Science Theater or something like that. I feel like there should be an episode of that, I imagine.
Yeah.
Which we may need to watch at some point, because that sounds really good.
Because they did a lot of
if that
Gamera
exists.
movies. I don't know how many Godzilla movies they did.
Oh, it'd be really nice if they got some of the...
But yeah, no, this is also... It's funny we compared it to Mars Attacks earlier, because even think about how they won. It was a certain sound.
That guy made for toy?
Yeah, that Tatsuya Terry
I guess.
was just like, I made a thing that'll rattle your teeth, And then, like, the Exilians are like, no!
My teeth have been rattled.
And, like, it just, like, sends them into a panic, and, like, all of the Exilians just get a terrible, painful end. But, like...
It used to, like, see them slowly suffer, and just, like,
like,
all of them just slowly dropping like flies and just laying on the ground in pain, and then everything's exploding, and everything's crashing around them, and they're begging to retreat, but no, they can keep going just a little bit longer, and you're just watching this like, oh my god. And they just explode.
But, like, to go back to the scene that was really good, it was between Glenn and the Exilian girl, because she was like, yes, join Planet X so you can live and do all of this. And he's like, I can't live that way. And she's just like, ah. And then leaves a note in his pocket after she tries to protect him and immediately dies.
She's murdered.
Like,
and
they literally
even the note, which is, like, perfectly printed, by the way, says, like, hey, so I probably got murdered. And I just... Sorry I died, probably.
Rip.
Hopefully not. But, I have to point out, I gotta watch this in Japanese at some point, because the note was, like, very short and quaint, but, like, the speech that they were, like, had her read or something, like, in her voice, like, it was so long compared to what was written on the paper.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Like, it just kept going, and it made me laugh really hard, like, I was just like, that is not all on there.
Yeah, and honestly, like, the upset that he had of her being gone and everything else, and that you were even making fun of him, being like, yes, all our women look the same, ha ha ha, and he's like, it matters what's on the inside, man.
Yeah, but he looked like half asleep.
Oh yeah, he also looked half asleep.
If I think what we saw was him, and, like, those really long monologues in, like, this soundproof jail cell. Guess why it's soundproof, guys? You can't even clink a cup against these. If that speech actually was him, then that was actually fantastic. Mm-hmm. Like, whoever did that was very, very good.
And yeah, this movie, honestly, it doesn't have a whole lot going on for it. But it's a ton of fun. It's very basic. It's kind of short, only like an hour and 30 minutes long.
It was really fun though. Honestly,
yeah,
this was a fun
bored.
Nothing was really boring. It wasn't so complicated that you got lost. Maybe it was, but like it keeps your attention long enough to where like you either don't notice or don't really care. It's just kind of a really fun, just like point and laugh out with your friends movie.
This is also a really fun movie to see in the classroom. When I was in middle school, one of my teachers just put this on during like a day. I think it was near the end of the year. I'm not exactly sure, but he just put on Invasion of the Astro Monster, and I was like, yeah! It was just so awesome to see a Godzilla movie in a place you expect not to see a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I actually knew this guy as well. He was really cool.
Yeah.
Hope he's doing good.
Yeah. But yeah, that's honestly where some of my attachment also comes from it, because it's like I have so much good memories, and like I've seen this actually a couple times. Like I don't even know if this is my third, fourth time watching it.
This was my first time watching it. Again, I gotta watch it at least in Japanese next, so I'm definitely gonna be seeing it again at some point.
Yeah, this movie is just fun and easy to watch. Like again, the Godzilla is still in the classic Showa design. I think Eiji Tsuburaya is still effects director, so he's kind of just keeping the suits looking good.
It's almost
Ghidorah
like...
was really goofy to see him be like...
I love how bobbly he was. He was just all over the place and twirling into it.
Rodan was just fun. Rodan just like literally just pushing Ghidorah and Godzilla off a cliff.
Oh my gosh. Like, it felt like almost like Godzilla comfort food. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like that nice, warm, just like, yeah, that was a fun Godzilla movie. And not... I don't know, the tragedies of war, you know?
Yeah. Like the last couple. And Godzilla 98.
Like, it was kind of nice to just, like, have an hour and a half of them just throwing silly aliens and bobbling Ghidorahs at me, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, this is an easy recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even if, like, you're not, like, a super huge, like, Godzilla fan, and if you don't have a lot of time, and it's like, oh, I don't want to watch, like, a 2 to 3 hour movie, like, give this one a shot if you have, like, a group of friends or something, if you agree upon it. It's really fun. Give it a shot.
Do you have any favorite moments?
I feel like we talked about most of them, honestly.
Okay.
I think probably just because, like, the acting was, like, truly actually really good. Probably was, like, that jail scene in the soundproofed room.
Yeah.
And, like, and it was so funny how it's, like, it really felt like that was actually the actor saying it, and then the other actor was very obviously dubbed. Like, that was truly obvious. So it was really funny to see it go back and forth in this conversation.
Honestly,
it was fun. I also just loved when the monsters were on screen.
Yeah, like, obviously those
that was
were, like,
always
the
a good
best
time.
Scenes. But
I
yeah,
don't know, it was
no,
just weird.
honestly, that's
I
like
loved
what I
it.
think is a ton of fun about this movie. Just seeing like that, but you also like that styrofoam, like obviously styrofoam piece of tape that they have that pretty much gave the message of "fuck you, we reversed you.
Haha!
We're
Fuck
actually the
you!
bad guys."
Did you guess? We weren't just gonna give you a miracle drug that cured all of your problems? Thanks
Eat
for
it,
the
suckers.
kaiju.
Eat it, suckers.
Suckers. Like,
But yeah,
counting their money.
so there you go. That's Invasion of the Astro Monsters. I don't know how long this one actually is, but it's a pretty quick one, but it's also like a pretty simple movie. So we hope you check this one out, and I guess we'll see them next week.
Thank you so much for watching.
And take it away, Bellarock.
Next week's movie is Godzilla vs. Destroyer.